Well, it's Friday the 13th.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Welcome.
And so today we're calling it part 1 of our Ari interview. We got
Yes.
such great conversation with him. We had
Oh.
such a wonderful, it's going to take 2 shows to show you everything. So today on Friday the 13th, May 13th, we're going to show you part 1 of Ari 55.
It's Ari _55 and
Ari _55.
Right, and we're going to welcome him. Oh my gosh, you're in for a blessing.
Okay, here we go.
Here we are.
Show. They make us laugh and they teach us things. They even want more fairy wings. It's the Anlin Show. They love their coffee, they make you smile. Come on and join and sit a while. It's the Anlin Show. Show them love, show you care. Like and subscribe, share if you dare. It's the Anlin Show. Granny's having coffee talk. These 2 sisters really rock.
It's the Anlin Show. Here's Ann and Lynn.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, good morning, Lynn.
Hello there, Ann. How are you doing this fine day?
Up. I am ready to rock and roll.
Oh, yes.
And maybe a little bit of blues.
Get your groove on. Get your groove on.
Oops, I hit my microphone. Yeah, get my groove on and do a little dancing today with Ari 55.
Yes.
Such a great guest today, and he'll be joining us in just a minute.
Yes, he will. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Oh, I am too.
What we're going to talk about today. He's got a fabulous channel, and I'm telling you, he watches the sky. And
he's a sky watcher. We call him our Renaissance man because
yes, we do.
Fascinating. So fascinating.
Yes, he is.
And so anyhow, he'll be here in just a minute. But want to welcome everybody to the show, and we want you to just feel free to get in that live chat. Lynn and I are in the live chat, and if you have questions for him, get them down in there in the comments. Start chatting away with us. Okay, so we're there. Do you see us? We're hi. Yeah, we see you. We see you in the chat. Yes. And want to welcome
our moderators. Thank you, mods. Yes. Always do a fantastic job, and we just really greatly appreciate you.
Yes, we do. And we thank everybody, our returning viewers. And if you this is the first time, welcome. You're here at the Ann Lynn Show. I'm Ann and my sister Lynn, and yes, we are real life sisters.
That's right. I'm located in the Midwest, and she's located in Upper New York.
Yeah, so we're far apart, but we do our show because we're together, aren't we, Lynn?
That's right.
And we just just going to be so much fun. We're just going to rock out. We're going to watch some of Ari's fantastic video that he's taken of the sky. He is a sky watcher, and hey, we're just going to talk about whatever and see how it goes, right?
That's right. And right now, why don't you go ahead while we're just starting out? Why don't you go and why don't you get your coffee or your tea or your water or whatever it is you like to drink?
That's right. So we're going to clink in. Ready? Clink. So everybody,
you have your Ann Lynn mug.
I do.
Actually, mine's in the dishwasher.
Oh, Lynn.
Yeah, but I'm blessed.
You're blessed. Yes, you are. And we are too, because of this wonderful guest. And I'm going to bring him in right now. Ari 55, and I think he's going to rock us in.
Everybody, start putting
Get ready.
Get your groove on. Get your groove on.
Yeah. Welcome. Hey.
Just love.
Wow.
Hey.
Oh, we got to clink you in.
Clink
Yes.
my little coffee cup.
Ready? 1,
Two.
3. Clink.
Clink, clink, clink.
Oh, it is so
Welcome.
wonderful to have you back on today, Ari. We are so excited.
Good to be here.
And we're blessed to have you. It's just always wonderful when you get to come by and we get to talk with you and kind of pick some ideas here going and your knowledge. It's exciting.
Well, I'm glad somebody likes to hear me talk
Oh.
on that.
Well, we do.
We're of there's several people down here in chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and we're kind of the same generation here, the three of us. So, yeah, we get it.
We're in the same era.
Yeah,
we all get it.
Oh,
This generation on this the YouTube world is always fun to watch too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can learn from each other. I mean, that's how you learn, right?
I got a head start on a lot of people. I started back in the 80s. I put together a computer program. They had these earlier computers for messing with at home.
Yep.
And I was a nerd then, so I was like, I'm gonna program this computer so I could play this game that came with it. It was hard, You had to put in every little line and squiggle just right, or it didn't work.
Oh, what game are you talking about? Might be the same one I played back then.
Oh, it's something like stupid, like moon landing.
Oh, was it? I think I did. What's the Galaxy?
Well, those were games that were already ready to play. But
right,
you had to type in the moon.
Oh yeah, I had to type it all in and program it, and then get a joystick. The first time I ever used a joystick on a computer, I'm like, all right, got a joystick and computer, and it's just a little bitty blip just coming down out of what was representing space, coming down on the moon. Got to land in between a little bit of this and land just right.
Wow!
And I made it without crashing several times.
Wow, that is
I just remembered what I used to play. It was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe.
Oh yeah.
And it was the big floppies, the big ones, and we had an what was that first computer
Atari.
that came? It wasn't Atari. Was it an Atari?
The floppies, yeah.
And we had a printer for it, but to play that game, you had to type in, walk north, walk south, whatever, pick up this thing. I was doing this for hours on end. I would put my kids to sleep, my husband be asleep, and I go in there in the other room and I get on that and I play that game for hours. So
see, you're one of them. Then
I'm one of them.
They've tracked you because of that game now, and me too. Because now these people are skillful enough to play this game. We can use them, and that's how we're being used.
I used to work in a computer department for 9 years. Yeah,
she was a computer gal. And do you remember a game? It's a pre-made game, spelunking. Oh my gosh! You go down in the cave and levels, and oh my goodness, we
had so many different things.
Oh, there was
and you were the first one in our family though to have a gaming system. I think that's for a computer. You were the first one in our family because
did you ever try those Commodore computers?
That's it. That's the one I played that game on. Thank you, Commodore VIC 64.
They had a Commodore 32 and a 64. But it's like once I got put one of those together and programmed it, it's like that wasn't enough for me. I wanted, I had to wait till 5 years later before I got a home computer from IBM, and it was so slow. It was so creepingly long, slow. Like 57 hertz. We're talking megahertz today. Or gigahertz is speed today, and that was just 57 hertz. So I tried to upload a picture or download a picture from NASA. I think it was a picture of space, and it was said it would take a month or two. I think, I don't know. I needed my phone line now. I can't wait a month, or 30 days of downloading information. I'm like, what? Turn that off.
Where I worked at, we did all the different departments. They would bring the labor reporting cards or tickets or whatever they were. And this other gal and I, we put them in, and one of us would put them in, the other one would verify.
Yes.
And we were doing over 10,000 keystrokes an hour. That's why my hands are like, ah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but then after you entered everything, then you had to go into a computer program and change the JCL, just the, you'd have to plug in what you wanted it to do with the information. And then you would send it over the telephone lines, and we were hooked into Houston, Texas. So all that would go down there, and then it would come back, and then it created your reports. And we had like 5 and 6 part carbon paper in that on the big matrix. Is it matrix? Whatever, the big printer, the dots, and it would print that out, and then we had this little thing. You'd get all it was the decolator, and you would and then you'd have like your reports, and you'd pass out. And then we did other things too, but I mean,
you pass out after you did that, huh? You pass out.
But it would it took a long time for that information to go to Houston to the big mainframe, and then to come back to us. It was like, you have to wait a half hour, an hour, whatever, and that stuff eventually. It's amazing how we've gone from that. And we had a great big computer room with a honking computers, and it had a special air conditioning unit in there. It was like iceberg in there. Yeah, it was terrible. So I mean, things have progressed. Oh my goodness. And I mean, it just eventually went way over my head, right?
Yeah.
But you were doing the programming way back in the day, weren't you?
Sure.
Yeah. Just past the punch card system. I just missed it. I just missed it.
Well, then even that computer I bought, like I think it was 92 or 91 or 92, somewhere in there, is like, you still had DOS. You had to do DOS.
Yes.
The direct operating system there, and then you had Windows 3.1, I think it was, or something. Maybe it might have been 2.1. But it was so basic that you're like, wow, this is still neat. It's still
cool.
very, very, very cool. But it's like, that was the beginning, and I've never stopped since then. Before
me neither.
But if you do stop, even if you slow down, it just goes by you so fast.
It does.
So now I've never done this with music or with computers. I had to keep up with a lot of things just to keep with it. If I didn't, it would all be, I've gone through 3 amplifiers or 4. I think I'm on my 4th amplifier, on my 3rd guitar, and my 15th phone. I don't know, but it's like my 4th, 5th computers, and 5, 6 computers. I don't know. I might even have 7 computers by now.
Did you ever have a gateway? They came in the big box that looked like a cow.
I've had
the gateways?
Yeah. Well, I've always been into things where I had to use the most computing power I could find. And especially doing searches like what I like on the internet. I've been doing searches on the internet for the things I'm searching for right now. And it's only made it easier or made it even harder today because there's a lot more misinformation to go with it.
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of information, but very few of it is, or very little of it is from the origin, from where it came
very
from.
little is real.
If you don't have anybody that's from the time when I started looking at some of the subjects I'm talking about, you would never even know what you're looking at, And
people today just don't see the full picture. They don't have they don't have 50 years of experience and knowledge.
They don't.
And that's what's missing.
So
and
they
there's
have to depend. They have to depend on people like you and me to say, here's the way it was and here's the way it is now. I see something different here,
Yeah. But then again, I don't think they believe us.
Well, I will say this:
pictures and video, but if they ain't good enough,
it can be faked.
Oh yeah, it can be. This ain't fake. I got the files to prove it. But
right.
But I know. Yeah.
I do watch I kind of watch a gentleman on YouTube, and he talks about critical thinking. He's wanting us just to think, and a lot of critical thinking is kind of gone by the wayside too, I guess.
It's too easy. It's just too easy to hear somebody tell me how to do it, and
right.
It's like I went on you can get a YouTube video to do anything, like repair my refrigerator. I've
Oh,
done that,
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
wasn't easy, but I could do it.
Well, that's the thing. It's a blessing and a curse. And a
Oh, yeah.
curse, it's like it's it's helpful, and then it's not. So
For me though, a lot of people want to see my channel be more information, and I'm mostly entertainment value. And if you can get some of that information out of what I put out, I sort of for too. But if you're going to say, why don't you be more informative? Why don't you talk more? That's not me.
Okay, right.
But I try to do both. Sometimes I don't do very well at talking, so I let my music, show how I feel. Sometimes
Speaks for you.
it
Yes.
does. If I can't get it through that way, then I'll try to talk. But it's like yeah, I'll try to talk. But
well, we want you to talk a lot today. You have the whole show.
Yes.
You have our 100% undivided attention.
That's what they all say until they cut you out. Here we got this part out. I ain't editing this. You are.
Oh, I'm not going to edit it.
Lynn, don't let her cut me out all the time.
No, what's great is that if it all goes smoothly, there is no editing for
that's
Ann.
that's the way I record. I try to record a song without any mistakes, and if there is, I'm not gonna tell you. Maybe I'm gonna make you figure it out if there's a mistake.
Right.
A lot of people never figure it out. They don't know any different.
No. It's like,
so you just keep playing. It's just like when I used to sing and I'd sing the wrong song, the wrong words, and you just keep going, and somehow it all ends up okay. You just gotta.
And what is it, Ann? If you forget the lyrics, it's watermelon, watermelon, watermelon.
Well, we blinged. Hey, we blinged out for you today. We're blingy. We decided to put our shiny, and you've got your Hawaiian shirt, and
right.
beautiful.
More Hawaiian. I need to get me some more of these. I can't find a good one I like. I don't want it too much, but
yeah.
I guess I should say Hawaii.
Right,
Sorry, little joke.
Well, so how long then have you been on YouTube?
I started first time in 2008, but I didn't like the channel that I started, so I didn't have much going on it anyway. So I just started another one, and that was 2010. So
we've been on for a while.
I had plenty of ideals, but never the skill for the computer, to upload it and download it and do this and do that. It's only till recently, really, for the last year and a half, that I've had the ability to do what I finally wanted to do.
Cool.
And it's taken me a long time, but it's like, I knew that technology would finally get to that point where, I've had ideals on how to do things, but it's never been there till recently. And, but it takes software, it takes knowledge, it takes all the skill levels of doing computer programming, and it just baffles your mind to go through all the processes make a video, to make one video. I probably let's say I produce a 20-minute video. It probably put in a week's worth of time of shooting, editing, and music, and at least a week.
They really are a lot of work. I mean, but if you're doing it and you enjoy it, and
Sure.
And is great. And then for me, it kind of helps my brain keep to, as you get older, you got to keep your brain going, doing something. Yeah. You got to keep your brain going, and you got to have a purpose in life and
take
a reason.
Break too long. If you take a break too long, it's just you just go to mush. And I don't want that. That's why we got to keep moving, and we got to keep rocking on with Ari.
That's right. Although I guess I shouldn't say this, but I let Ann do all the technical. I just show up.
Well, I mean, I've always done stuff like this.
Somebody's got to be able to do it. I mean,
that's right.
If you want to start doing it, it's good to figure it out a little bit at a time.
I do other things, right?
Well, you're doing quite a bit right now, though. You got a microphone going into a computer.
Yep.
Yes.
And a lot of people can't get past that point,
Yeah. I mean, so we're figuring things out, and it's fun to I can do this, and I have things that I want to do too, but I don't have the technology to do it. I mean, I think it would.
See, if there's where YouTube comes in handy, because or Google, any place, you just put it in there what you want to do, and you'll find some ideas to help you along. I'm not the instructional type of person. A lot of people would like me to tell you how I make movies, or videos. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm just not an instructor, but I could. But it takes more time to be an instructor, I think, than it does to
because
do the actual thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's just so much to it. But
well, my husband was a computer programmer for years,
mm-hmm.
and so I'll be honest, I just it's like he'd try to show me something or teach me something, and he's a good instructor. He can do it. But you know what? I'm sorry, I say, but you're the expert. And I've kind of let him. I guess I deferred everything to Ann and to my husband.
That's the way it works. So I'm sure your skill level on other items or other parts of the family or whatever, they're going to come to you for.
Right. We just work kind of like you fit
your
hand
team.
in hand.
Yeah, you're a little team there.
That's right. Yeah. We're team Ann Lynn. So I let there we go. I let everyone contact her.
I miss the other part of my having my wife around, because she would always argue. She'd always argue with me about what I'm saying, the opposite, of course, everything. And I'm like, no, it's this, and she goes, no, it's that. I'm like, no, well, she was always that hard-headed way about me. I'm like, I can never get her to agree that this is actually what I'm telling you it is. And she's like, then she would agree on certain things. On certain times, she would say, "Oh, that does look like a rock. That does look like a meteor. That does look like this." But most times she wouldn't agree with me on a lot of things. So I don't have that voice now. It's like that sucks. I'm like, oh no, it don't. Come on, honey, I worked hard on that. She'd be blunt. She'd be blunt. And that's what it takes sometimes. If she told me that something that I worked hard on, she didn't like it, that's how she was. She didn't hold back. Well, I was the same way with her, I guess, too. We were both artistic endeavors, and we were both in competition together. And that's the hardest thing. If you ever sell art together and do your art together and make jewelry together, and you're in competition against each other, even though you're married to each other, you almost begin to not like that person sometimes. You're like, my art is better than your art. No, your art ain't that good. I'm sorry. Hey, my art sold. Yours didn't. I mean, it would be like two kids sometimes in an art fair. My art sold. Yours didn't. No. See, that's how mean you can be when you got two people together. They're pretty artistic endeavors, right? Absolutely. And they have nobody on the outside saying, "You two need to settle down now."
Well, what did she create?
She's painted a lot of paintings and jewelry. She was she went to school for jewelry, so she was a jeweler. And I've got all this jewelry equipment around it. We did jewelry for a while. I made jewelry equipment too, but it's like I didn't go to school for it. It really irritated her that I could make some nice jewelry pieces too. Just because I didn't get a professor to tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a gift that you have. It comes natural, and it's just gifting.
See, they have this stuff called clay. Jewelry clay, or it's called silver clay, gold clay, and you have to fire it once you shape it in the shape you want, which I love doing that. You could free form any type of pendant and put a setting or whatever you want, and you fire it at a real high temperature to melt it, all this wax. I mean, not wax, but water. It's just water holding these molecules together, and you got pure silver, pure gold when you're done.
Wow.
Pure.
Is it like a kiln that you put
in?
In,
you got to use oven? I got a big kiln that's
you do?
I've got several kilns really, but I've got two of them are the size where you can fire like pottery.
Did you guys ever do that?
No, I bought all this stuff and molds and stuff, and that was one of our projects we never got to.
But, do you have time now? Is it something that interests you right now to start creating
No, it was for her endeavor, not mine.
Okay.
But she saw this in a paper. You know, like this person wanted to get rid of their kilns and all their molds for a real cheap price. But I mean, it's a lot of stuff. It's out there in my barn now, covered up, but nobody's going to use it. I probably ought to sell it, I guess.
Wow. Well, my son, he for a while in college, that he did some pottery, and of course, in you learn, obviously you learn about everything, but I think that he would have really liked to have had a kiln to have continued it, because I think he was pretty good, and I think he enjoyed it.
Well, these things are big enough. It takes three people at least to pick it up, and and it's got the big the big outlet that you'd have to have for electric. It's probably a monster if you ever fired it up. I got two of those, but the one I got in my garage, it's a small one that you can put like jewelry in, and
right,
which I might still try to do that, but I doubt it, but I've done so much of it for years. Me and my wife did that for years, and she created some nice artwork. In fact, I've got probably 500 or 600 prints sitting around here. I need to do something with them that she created. And
what did she paint? What did she do? What was her drawing?
Well, she liked to paint. She did a really nice painting of a train. Since I was a railroader, she did this. You've ever seen the famous painting of the New York Central back in I think it was the 1920s or 30s. I don't know when it was, but they had this really cool looking locomotive, a bullet looking, Art Deco style locomotive.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Right. Well, she did a recreation of that in watercolor, and that was an amazing painting, and she did a great job.
Yeah. Wow. The reason I know you said Art Deco, now Art Deco is not quite my genre of it's just not. But I'm a big British.
Sure.
I like my Brits.
Oh, yeah.
And I watch a lot of Agatha Christie's
some of them old steam locomotives they had.
Yeah, and the Hercule Poirot, he is in the Art Deco era that I watch. And so yes, I see a lot of Art Deco trains, which they're kind of elongated and have sharp corners, and
they made them look more like a rocket type.
Yes.
And I mean it was a sci-fi look. 60 years. Why didn't we continue that? Because the trains I ran on were blocky, old, chunky, pieces of junk sometimes. But
well, let me ask you a question. Since your career, you retired from that the trains. What was let me ask you back up. Do you remember? Now I don't want to get too us go too far back, but do we remember now steam engines? I mean the locomotives that went with steam. How is that steam produced?
It was done with coal in the earlier days. Before that was wood.
So
and they used mostly coal, and then it went to oil.
So what do you think that I would kind of remember from? I can remember, I might have been 10 years old, so we're going way back. And I remember the trains having the vapor coming out.
You're talking the 60s.
50s, maybe even
50s. Yeah, but they stopped running most of the diesel. I mean, mostly diesel. They started that in the 50s and the 60s, but they still had steamers around. Depends on what city you were in. If you were back east, somewhere where there's a city industrial, a lot of industrial going on, I'm sure they still use steam locomotives because they're workhorses. One steam locomotive, but it takes a lot of water. Takes a lot of fuel to keep them going, so
I know my husband and I, we went up to the Green Bay, Wisconsin area one time. We took a trip up there, and we went into a museum. I'm trying to think, I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was a super large engine, steam engine. It's that great big one. I mean,
well, they like to put the big boy. They call it the big boy because
I think it's the big boy.
Well, they only made very few at the last before they stopped making steam locomotives, and
Let me see if I can
they
find
were
that.
called the big boys for sure.
Wow.
But it didn't matter whether it was Union Pacific or whoever; they all retired these old big things because
Yes.
it took a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, they talked about the maintenance on it and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
And
I was going to go. I was going to go to Wyoming and be instructed on how to run those things.
oh my
But
goodness.
oh, I know, but I'd had to do it on my own time, and I was like, no, come on, man, come on, Union Pacific, you make billions of dollars. You could at least give me a break here,
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. But no, I would have to take my own time and go up there to learn how to run one of their old steam locomotives just so I could be their steam locomotive on that, the engineer for it.
Well, I found what the place where we went to. Let me just see if I can pull it up on my screen and I can tell you about it. It was so big. Yeah, it's called the National Museum of Transportation,
hmm
and it was the big boy steam
hmm
locomotive that's
Right,
in their
right,
museum.
right.
Nope,
Wow.
it's not gonna
Well,
give me.
if you stand next to the wheels, it's taller than I am. I'm
It's
5.
taller than
Oh,
like
oh yeah.
way over. And my
Right.
husband's 6'3", and it was way over his.
Now I talked to an old engineer on an old steam engine. It wasn't the big boy, but it was another steam engine they'd had in Galesburg, Illinois. They have it sitting in a park right beside the track he used to run on, and it was railroad days in Galesburg, Illinois. And I'm up there just because I had nothing better to do, and I'm a locomotive engineer. I'm out looking at trains. Yeah, I've got nothing better to do, but but I did it. I did it for my family. Okay,
Sure.
I took my daughters. You know,
Wow.
as much as I didn't want to go, but I took them.
Yeah.
And here's all these trains out there running up and down the tracks, but this old engineer was sitting up there in this old steamer. And I went up there and talked to him. I'm like, "Yeah, I work for the railroad." I told him, and I asked him, how fast did you run this locomotive? Or I asked him, did you run this locomotive? He goes, "Oh yeah, I cut my teeth on this locomotive." And I said, "Well, how fast did it go?" And he goes, "Till we got scared." There was no speed limits. They just went
Right.
until they had to get there as fast as they could go until they got scared.
Well, how
And
fast do you think they were going?
oh, they could have easily gone 90 mile an hour, 70 to 80, 90 mile before you know it.
That's a
I've been up,
lot for a
oh,
train.
it is. I've been up to 75 before I knew it. And I tested my speed. And my speedometer said I was doing like 55. And I said, I'm doing way faster than 55 here. I can tell you that.
Yes.
And I timed it. I timed the next mile. It was like 48 seconds or something like that. I'm like, whoa, that's faster than 70. I'm like, we're 70 mile an hour is 52 seconds. So I'm like, I don't know how fast I'm going, but I'm going way over the speed limit. The speed limit was like 60. All this time I'm already going 2-3 miles down the road and way over the speed limit. And railroad, they could fire me for that. And I've been fired for speeding. You can be fired for speeding. Everything is recorded. And nowadays it's all recorded by satellite. So it's they can tell you you're messing up the minute you're doing it. Before I could get away with it for months before they come back and say, "You did this. Did you know you did this?" No, I didn't do that. I still did not. I did not do
Deny.
that. I did not do that. Prove that I did that. I will
Did
not
you?
admit. I do not admit that I screwed up ever. No way.
Oh,
You never volunteer for one thing. Didn't they tell you that, Lynn, in the service?
Yes.
You
Yes.
never volunteer. Okay. Now I volunteered one time just because I needed more money on the railroad. You should never know. You know the railroad's going to give you the worst places to go if you're volunteering because nobody wants to be there.
right.
First off. So they
Right.
send me to this armpit of a place. I'm not going to mention the city or the name. It's bad, but no, I'll say it's down there in Western Texas. How about that?
Okay.
Down there in Western Texas.
Okay.
We're close to the Mexican border. But
Okay.
it doesn't matter. You get out there in the desert, this high plateau area I was in. It's nothing but rattlesnakes and scrub brush,
Yep.
mesquite bushes everywhere. And where there's snakes everywhere. I mean, I never seen so many rattlesnakes. So I'm going through this desert on a train from the desert out there in the city. I mean, I'll tell you the city. It was El Paso.
But, I used to live in El Paso.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, down there by the river, down there by the industrial zone where the railroad's at. It sucked, man. I was down there. I couldn't breathe. I was down there one hot night. I was like, oh, Lord, please give me some air. I couldn't breathe. I mean, it was
like I couldn't breathe
nothing.
Either.
It was nothing there. I was in dead heat, no wind blowing, and I'm in an non-air conditioned locomotive, and I'm dying.
Yeah.
And I wanted to quit so bad that night. I remember I was like, oh, please move some air through here. And my conductor's over there sleeping. I'm like, how could he sleep in this hot, miserable weather, you know? And you can't breathe. There's all chemical smells too. But I go through this desert to a place even worse. That's what's unbelievable. I go from a worse place to an even worse place. Yeah. And this is the place the railroad wanted to put us up. I'm saying, thank you very much, people. I get off at milepost 666.
Oh, my goodness.
666.
That should have told you something, right?
Here's your sign.
So I get off there and I'm thinking, why couldn't they picked another place to make our stopover? You know, why is it got to be 666?
Yeah.
Don't they know that's the number of the beast? I know I'm working for the beast, but you know, you got to make me stay at the beast's hotel. They found a dead rat underneath my bed.
Oh.
A dead rat.
Oh.
Under my bed.
How long did you stay there? Just the one night?
Yeah. But I had to keep coming back there.
Huh?
There was no getting away from that hell, I'll tell you.
Oh, that's why. And don't volunteer anymore then.
I don't. I never did. But as you know, they said, oh, you can make this much extra money and you can get this and this and this. And I'm like, well, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did it pay off for you at the time?
No, I ended up in the hospital.
No.
I almost got killed. But,
no.
I did. I got off my train after coming through the desert one day, about a month later from all this going on. When I figured out I'm not getting out of here. I'm stuck here. I tried to get out of there. You know, they wouldn't let me go. And so I'm walking across the street. I parked my train in a siding. I was waiting for Amtrak to go by. And I made sure there's no cars coming as usual. Then there's nothing coming. I walk across the street. I get on the other side of the road, and I'm clipped by a car.
Oh.
A car comes. Yeah, a car comes from this intersection. There was a car stopped at an intersection. He makes a left-hand turn onto the road and clips me on the side of the road, and sends me flying. Yeah, he sends me flying through the air. And I don't know whether I was actually struck. I think I was hit a little bit, but what if I was picked up? You know, and I felt like I could see like I was tumbling through the air, and I landed on the back of this guy's trunk. And then fell on the ground.
Oh my.
And the guy comes back here and he goes, well, you know, I don't know how fast he's going from a stop, probably about 20, 30 mile an hour, but he hits me good, knocks me way up in the air. And I'm laying there on the ground. And he goes, are you all right? And I'm like, nope, I'm fired, buddy. See that train over there? You just took the engineer off of it. And I wasn't supposed to be off it. I didn't have permission. See? They got me.
You're not supposed to leave the train?
No. But I done drank all my water. I was so thirsty. You couldn't believe how thirsty I was. And I poured all the water on my head earlier, hours earlier. I finally get a chance to get me a drink of some cold tea or something. And I get knocked out of my head there, right there on the ground. And
oh my gosh.
But that was my ticket back home from that trip.
But you had to go to the hospital.
Oh God, I was
just all banged up and bruised up.
It tore my meniscus in my right knee, so I had to have an operation. I was off for another few months off of that.
Wow. Well,
and of course the railroad fired me.
They did.
Oh, they will fire you. They call it level 5. You know, which just means you're terminated. You're done.
Wow.
And the only way I can get back is if I beg for my job from the superintendent,
Yes.
Well, you went back to work, didn't you?
Yeah. So I had to go I had to talk to the superintendent. Says, I'm sorry, I got off my train without permission, like a little boy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. It's not pleasant, but
I will say this: you talked about volunteering. Yeah, that's something we learned that we were told don't volunteer.
I
But I
learned
will
that a
tell
long
you,
time ago.
when I was in basic training, though, we we had to go and do duties around the base. You know, there was some duty came up, and there was KP duty came up, and of course, no one wanted KP duty, so I did volunteer. I said, okay, I'll do. No, I have a good ending. I have a good ending.
Okay.
No, mine's good.
That's
Okay.
hard work,
Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
I'm down in Alabama, Fort McClellan, Alabama, and they had civilian cooks back then. In that day,
Right.
there were civilians cooking, and so there was a few of us that had KP duty, and so we did whatever they wanted us to do. It wasn't hard. It wasn't anything big. I don't know. We mopped the floor. We did something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that them little ladies took us gals and they fed us? They fed us fried chicken. We had cake that was homemade cake. They fed us.
They got all the good food back there.
We had this fabulous time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the three of us said, when we go back now, we've got to act like it was just miserable.
Yeah, right.
We couldn't tell
froze up.
that we had this great, that we had a great time. So after that, I kind of volunteered once in a while.
If you knew the real story behind it, yeah.
Well, you froze up there just at the last part of that.
I'm sorry. I know we our internet was out the other day for like hours and hours and hours.
Really?
And
are you having storms there today, Lynn?
We will in just a little while. We're supposed to be having some severe storms, actually.
Yeah. They all missed us last night. I was glad because I'm in an area where the two extremes meet sometimes, and a lot of times it's further south where it actually hits, like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then if it hits in the area I'm at, it really has to get hot first. Like if it gets if it ever gets up to 85 on these type of days, I begin to worry. 80s to 85 to 90.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then here comes a cool front coming in.
Yes.
You better look for shelter.
Yeah. Yeah. I lived in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma for a while. So yes. Right. And occasionally we'd have only lightning storms. It would be all there would, and the lightning would stay up in the clouds.
Right.
And you could just go outside and just be in awe of the lightning inside those clouds.
I know.
Oh, so I know that you like to look up into the sky.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you tell us what's going on? I mean, what have you been putting out lately and seeing, and
Well, you want to push up one of those links here? Can you put up some pictures?
Okay.
We're gonna do your latest video.
Latest one. That's right.
We can see some of the planets I've actually got to look at.
Okay.
Wow.
And we're going to hear some beautiful music that
Absolutely.
Now, be sure you hear. Do you guys hear?
Yes.
Okay. I can turn it down just a little.
No, up a little.
Well, when I start talking, it gets a little loud.
Yeah. Now, that's a fireball, right?
Right. See how bright it is?
Yes.
A fireball is another term.
It's putting off a shadow. It looks dark behind it.
Brighter than a magnitude -4, which is about the same magnitude of the planet Venus in the morning or evening sky.
What time in the morning were you out there doing this?
This was let me think. This was the morning. No, this is a morning shot here. This is like before the sun come up.
Oh. So it was still dark outside.
Well, it's just first light.
Or the twilight.
Yeah,
or,
30 minutes before sunrise. It's called
look at
first
that.
light. Now there's a light. See, there's a little dot going up beside this airplane, but it faded out fast, so I didn't catch it. Whatever it is, I tried to keep my lens on it, but it just went out of focus.
Well, there was a light.
Yeah, there was something there.
Yeah, I saw it. Let me go back.
Yeah, go back.
Let me try this again. But yeah, I saw it was right. Was it right above? Looked like above the plane, right where the cockpit.
It starts from the very bottom of the picture and goes right up towards.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was real bright.
So there might have been more than one. It's one of those things. If it don't come in clear, I'm not going to waste too much time on it because it's very hard. It's a lot of time just to put up what I got there.
Now I know you have some specialized camera too, don't you?
Right. This camera can pick up infrared signals. I've tested it on a remote. If you pick up any remote, you can't see the light coming out when you push the button. You put your camera up to it that can see in the full spectrum light.
Yes,
it'll pick this light up.
Wow, I knew that you had.
Yeah, when you can see that you can pick up what your eyes can't see. Now you just got to trust this instrument that you're using, that it's picking up things that you're not going to be able to see.
So watch the screen down when the airplane comes like this. Okay. There's something.
This thing here is a darkness behind it. That's a shadow. Yes. That bright part is casting on the back. It makes people think, oh, it's just an aircraft. No, this thing is a big chunk of rock going through the sky. It didn't burn up, but it's bounces off our atmosphere and goes away. Now look,
okay, watch it right at the where the cock right there. What was that?
It's still going up, but it's very faint.
Wow.
And it's like an orb. It could be anything. I don't know.
Could it be a piece of the broken asteroid or whatever coming in?
Here's what's going on in space all the time. There's meteors coming in all the time.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and there's also what they call nucleation, ice nucleation coming in from natural objects and from what the planes are putting out. And these natural objects going through the sky can leave these traces, what they call ice nucleation. Before
hold on a second. Let me.
This is what it looked like.
Hold on, just a second. What did you say that was?
What ice nucleation?
Well, and I think we told you the story before about our brother had an object from space come through his home, and it went through the roof, and it where it went, Lynn. It ended up
as a result of this coming through, he had to have a new roof. They had to repaint the walls inside of his bedroom.
He started having water in one of these rooms, and they were like, "Where did this water come from?"
So it must have been an ice ball.
It can be, because it's naturally forming from all sorts of things, and most of the objects going through space that we see firing up in space, sometimes just dust and rocks and water. The comets are nothing but a bunch of water, fireballs, and
wow.
Well, I say they never actually found anything, but they could tell the projection of the object where it went in. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell
the hole was
and you could tell it was like going that way from the the projection of it.
Yes.
And they couldn't find it. I mean, it even underneath the house, it nothing.
It just went through the house.
It's funny that you did mention that today. It's funny, and because I just spoke to our brother a little while ago, and I was telling him of we had a really horrific thing happen about 100 miles from where I live, and I was just telling him about what had just happened, and he said, well, Lynn, it's just like you got to be careful crossing the road. You may have a space object hit you crossing the road.
What is this, Ari?
This is something I caught beside Venus one morning. I know where all the other planets are, and this object is not supposed to be there, but it's there. It was there for almost 2 minutes. And it's a very
to the left of Venus.
To the left, Venus is on the right, and You can always find Venus. It's the brightest object out there.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I
And
mean,
so
I can see it in our,
I
yeah.
was surprised to see another object, and it looks like it's almost traveling alongside the same speed and everything, going around this. Venus is going like 78,000 mile an hour, something like that, around the sun.
Well,
And it's going fast.
it's
We're
staying
going
right
like
with it.
67,000 mile an hour. Venus is going a little bit faster. Mercury's even
Mhm.
going faster. The closer you get to the sun, you're going faster.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so this object could be what I'm calling Planet X, and what everybody else is trying to tell you. Planet X is going to look like some big giant planet, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm thinking it's going to look more like a planet.
Uh-huh.
What do
Yes.
planets look like?
Well,
Venus is about the same size as our Earth.
yes.
And so if you went out to Venus right there, 70,000 miles away, or 70 million, I don't know how many millions of miles away it is, but you go out there, you look back at our Earth ain't going to look any more than that. That's
Yeah.
why people want to look at a blue dot out there, or
Yeah.
let's look at Planet X. What is it going to look like? Who knows?
Yeah.
But I can tell you this planet is not listed with the, I can see Jupiter's down below. Mars is up above Venus. Saturn's up above Venus. Mercury's below the horizon. So all these planets are accounted for except for this one. What is this thing?
Goodness.
It is very interesting.
Mhm.
Whatever it is very interesting.
I did blow it up. You can look at the link down below in the description of this video. You'll see some pictures that one object there, I can see there's other planets around it. Once I blew it up and it enlarged it even more,
Uh-huh.
it has its own system around it. So this is what I've been seeing night and day now. Once I never really wanted to stay out late at night, taking pictures in the stars, because it's so much work to do just doing it in the day. And I try to do mornings and nights, and then late nights now. It takes you down. Now here's Mercury. The next day I got up and I went out and took a picture of Mercury. And
Wow.
this is after the sun went down, though.
Wow.
That's what Mercury looks like.
I love looking at the stars.
Oh, yes. You have a
I have a
there.
telescope.
Right. And here's Jupiter. And now here's Venus. I'm narrating this as it is. It's a as it actually.
Yeah, I can pull the sound back up and
That's
do
all right.
music there. But I just wanted to ask you about the ice ball. I couldn't remember. I thought that was something. Well, I mean, in general, there's stuff falling out of the sky all the time.
Sure.
Space junk.
Sure.
Stuff off of planes.
Right. Just the natural stuff coming through is
I think
creating a lot of stuff in the
it'd
air.
be interesting to know what like how many of these things they track every day. I'm sure there are a lot of people that
there's a lot. There's so many. Yeah, it's mind-boggling to look at the objects going around us, the unaccounted or the accounted for people junk.
That's beautiful.
That's Mars.
That's beautiful.
And it could have been part of its planet or a moon around it there a little bit. Now this is a planet or a moon that I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell. I was looking for Saturn, so I'm looking almost 1 billion miles out into space, and I come up on this object. Now here comes Saturn. Here comes Saturn in the rings.
Oh yeah, you can tell the rings.
Well, I'll get a better shot of it than this. This is the very first shot.
Oh my gosh.
That's almost 1 billion miles out.
Oh my gosh. And you were able to capture that.
Sure. You got to have a camera that can, if you can see it with your eyes, you can pick it up with this camera.
Oh my goodness. Do you show it again here?
Sure. Yeah. It takes a while to get it in and out because it's so far out there. You know, it's like once I was trying to pull out to show you how far away it is, first off. And show you the other planets around it. See how far. Now, here comes back to Jupiter, I think. Yeah, this is Jupiter. I'll show Saturn again. But Jupiter, you don't see the moons yet. When it's this low on the horizon, you can't already see the moons. But later on, I'll show you the moons of Jupiter.
How many moons are around Jupiter?
Well, there's probably over 100, but they've said there's 97 that they've counted, and only 50 of them are named. You know,
Uh-huh.
so there's so many moons all the time being collected around these major planets. These Jupiter and Saturn are two gas giants in our solar system, and they are still collecting, lots of stuff out there.
It's amazing.
I suspect it's got to be totally mind blowing when you just focus on just our moon, isn't it?
Sure,
and
it is.
The craters, and I mean, it must be like
when you can. Yeah, see, I'm reaching out here. Now here comes.
Look at that.
Now,
this is a billion miles. Now I go to the moon. It's only 100 or 239,000 miles away, or 230.
Yes, it must be awesome through your camera. I
mean, yeah. I can get. It takes up the whole frame. I think I do show a picture in here of it, of the moon. But I show all these far away, distant planets, and try. Now I pulled away again, and I'm going to try to go right back out to where I was. See, you can't see nothing now. I'm going to go right back into where Saturn was.
Oh my!
That is amazing. Do you see the rings, everybody? Look at that.
Oh, that's just.
Wow. Now, if you have questions for Ari, make sure you get them in the chat, okay? Because Ari's here too. Oh my gosh. Was that not a wonderful, fabulous interview with Ari today?
Absolutely. And I tell you what, I can't wait till we're going to have part 2 next week.
Whoa. Yes. The conversation was just so wonderful. We're having 1 and 2. Yeah. So you have to tune in next week for part 2 of our conversation.
That's right.
It was great.
So we are still here in the chat for a few more minutes, so you can say hi to Ari, and if you haven't subbed to his channel, go on over there and sub to his great channel.
Yes, and, moderators, please drop his. I know you've been dropping it all along.
Thank you to all that were here today, and thank you to our moderators. They just
love our moderators.
We love you, and you do such a good job, and we appreciate you. And thank those from Ari that have come over today. We hope you come back and join us. Be here for part 2 next week for sure. Yes. And then, hey, why don't you just stick around, and you might like these 2 old grannies and wonderful guests.
Hey, you never know, right?
You never know. We have great guests.
Well, are you ready to granny kiss out?
I'm ready to granny kiss.
All right. We'll do it on 3, Lynn. Okay.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Mwah. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.